Following a recent outing in Boston, Massachusetts, Arnold and Bill Klein, the well-known couple from TLC's enduring reality series The Little Couple, have once again found themselves at the center of public attention. Since the start of their show in 2009, the two, who both suffer from skeletal dysplasia, a kind of dwarfism, have gained widespread attention. Their marriage, jobs, and path into fatherhood have all been intimately shown to viewers through the series, which documents their personal and professional lives. Their 2014 gestational surrogate daughter, Zoey Marie Klein, has received a lot of attention in recent years. The family of three was seen having a laid-back day out in downtown Boston on a pleasant Saturday in early October. Witnesses reported the expedition as family-friendly and low-key, which included a walk along Commonwealth Avenue, a visit to the Boston Public Garden, and a quick stop at a neighborhood cafe in the Back Bay area. Even while the pair has previously been in public, sightings of them have decreased recently, especially when their daughter Zoey is involved. The obvious change in Zoey's look was what set this particular outing apart. At the age of 10, she was seen strolling confidently next to her parents, chatting, and looking noticeably taller and more grown-up than she had in past public appearances or posts on social media. The show's viewers, many of whom have been following the family's journey for more than 10 years, were shocked and moved by the pictures and videos from the excursion, which were then circulated on social media and by entertainment news sources. Fans responded quickly and in large numbers. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter were inundated with comments, many of which expressed shock at Zoey's rapid growth. Phrases like, "Zoey looks so grown up," and "she's not so little anymore," and "time really flies," started to appear frequently in internet conversations. Some admirers expressed their amazement at realizing that Zoey was now nearing middle childhood after having watched her develop on screen since infancy. Others commended the family, especially in regard to Zoey's upbringing, for leading a reasonably private life in spite of their public persona. Bill Klein, a former medical device executive, and Jen Arnold, an assistant professor and neonatologist at Baylor College of Medicine, have long stressed the value of striking a balance between one's private life and public life, particularly with regard to their daughter. The couple made conscious decisions regarding what parts of their lives to share during the run of The Little Couple, which concluded with its final episode in 2021 after 12 seasons. The show maintained restrictions, especially with regard to Zoey's daily routines and educational life, even as it chronicled significant events like her birth, early development, school experiences, and family vacations. The trip to Boston was one of the family's first verified public appearances in more than 2 years. Before this, the last sighting that was extensively publicized happened in 2021, not long after the series ended. The pair has mostly stayed out of the public eye since, concentrating on their jobs, advocacy work, and family life in Houston, Texas. Although they are still active on social media, their posts are now more carefully chosen, with fewer updates and a greater focus on advocacy for people with disabilities, health awareness, and parenting advice. Bystander photos from the Boston excursion that have been circulated online depict the family strolling leisurely together. While Zoey went a little ahead, looking into storefront windows and pointing at different sights, Jen and Bill, both dressed casually for fall, light jackets, jeans, and comfy shoes, were seen holding hands. One picture shows her wearing dark trousers and a navy blue hoodie, with her long brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, giggling at something her father said. Standing significantly taller than her parents in the pictures, her stature, while still age-appropriate, obviously fits typical growth patterns for a child her age. Although it was a normal aspect of Zoey's growth, this height disparity caused fans and onlookers to talk. Many pointed out that Zoey looks to be close to or possibly above 4 feet 6 inches, which is within the typical range for a 10-year-old girl, although Jen and Bill are both about 3 feet 10 inches tall. Given that Zoey does not have skeletal dysplasia, this physical difference is normal, but as she gets older, it becomes more noticeable. This change is a moving reminder of the special familial relationship at the core of The Little Couple for fans who have watched the show for a long time. One of the main plot points in the first several seasons of the show was the use of a gestational surrogate to deliver Zoey. Jen and Bill were candid about the difficulties they had getting pregnant because of the complicated medical concerns they had. With the assistance of a close friend, the couple finally chose to seek surrogacy after several unsuccessful efforts at in vitro fertilization, IVF, and worries about the risks of pregnancy for both Jen and a possible surrogate. A two-part special called A Baby for the Little Couple that aired in 2013 and garnered one of the best viewership ratings in the show's history detailed the procedure. On August 1, 2014, Zoey was born in Houston at Texas Children's Hospital. Both the family and the viewers of the show, many of whom had followed the couple's agonizing journey, greeted her birth as a happy milestone. Zoey was reported to be a healthy, happy child from birth who showed no symptoms of skeletal dysplasia. Given that achondroplasia, the most prevalent kind of dwarfism, is autosomal recessive, genetic testing revealed that she did not inherit the disorder from either father. This was a reassuring and predicted outcome. The show chronicled Zoey's growth throughout the years, including her first words, first steps, first day of school, and several family vacations. The couple's parenting style, which prioritized open communication, inclusivity, and education about diversity, was frequently featured in episodes. Jen and Bill spoke a lot about how they would explain Zoey's parents' dwarfism to her so she would understand it without feeling ashamed or afraid. They also talked about how they would get her ready for possible peer inquiries and public curiosity. The character of Zoey's public persona has changed as she has matured. She frequently made appearances on the show and in promotional materials throughout her early years. Her appearances, however, were more restricted as she approached school age. The pair attributed this change primarily to her right to privacy and her typical childhood. "We want Zoey to have a childhood that's as typical as possible," Jen said in interviews during the show's last seasons. "She is our kid first and foremost, not a reality star." This way of thinking has persisted after the show. Zoey's social media presence is strictly controlled, while Jen and Bill keep their accounts active. Rarely are pictures shared, usually on important occasions like birthdays, holidays, or family get-togethers. Instead of focusing on specifics of Zoey's everyday life, captions frequently touch on more general concepts like parenting, progress, and gratitude. The family has not revealed whether she attends a public or private school and refrains from mentioning her friends, school name, or location. Therefore, the Boston visit was noteworthy not only for being unusual but also for providing an unscripted, honest look into the family's present circumstances. The photos from the vacation were unpolished and unrefined, portraying a moment of typical family time in contrast to the professionally manufactured episodes of their television show. Fans responded well to this genuineness, with many expressing gratitude for the window into the Klein-Arnold family's lives. Though nuanced, the response to Zoey's presence was overwhelmingly positive. She appeared more like a preteen than an elementary school student, according to some commenters, who were shocked by how grown she appeared. Others praised her poise and confidence, implying that she exudes maturity beyond her years. Many admirers related personal tales of their own children's upbringing, comparing the feelings sparked by witnessing Zoey's metamorphosis to their own experiences. The wider ramifications of Zoey's development in relation to her parents' lives were also discussed. Observers pointed out that the dynamics of the home will unavoidably change as Zoey gains more independence. As she gets older, she could be able to do things that used to require adaptation, including reaching high shelves, helping with movement, or navigating public areas. In their earlier discussions about getting ready for this change, Jen and Bill emphasized the value of instilling in Zoey a sense of responsibility and life skills. The pair talked about their long-term goals for Zoey's participation in domestic duties in earlier interviews. They started teaching her basic chores at a young age, like helping to organize shared spaces and setting the table with adaptive tools, Bill said. Jen went on to say that their goal is to inculcate values of advocacy, empathy, and awareness while also motivating Zoey to speak out when it is appropriate regarding disability rights and inclusivity. The couple has also stated their hope that Zoey will act as a link between the public and the dwarfism community, utilizing her distinct viewpoint to promote understanding. One of the oldest and most recognizable parks in the city, the Boston Public Garden, was visited as part of the Boston tour. The site has cultural and sentimental value and is well known for its picturesque lagoon, flower gardens, and the well-known Make Way for Ducklings monument. The family was observed strolling down the walkways, stopping occasionally to feed the ducks and snap pictures. They bought duck food from a neighboring stand and engaged in friendly conversation with other local families, according to a local vendor. The destination may have symbolic significance. Based on Robert McCloskey's children's book, the Make Way for Ducklings statue shows a mother duck guiding her 8 ducklings through the city. The story speaks to elements that are essential to Jen and Bill's parenting experience and is frequently read as a story of safe passage, guidance, and familial love. The sculpture and the actual family strolling by were compared by onlookers, who saw the parents guiding their child through a world that wasn't necessarily made for their size or differences. No formal word has been published by Jen or Bill regarding the outing. However, a spokeswoman for the couple acknowledged that they were in Boston for a short holiday and emphasized that the trip was supposed to be private and low profile. Jen and Bill appreciate the continued support from their fans, but they ask for respect regarding their daughter's personal life, the official added, reaffirming the family's continued dedication to Zoey's privacy. Zoey is a typical child who should be treated with the same respect and space as other kids. Disability advocates and parenting professionals have echoed this attitude, warning against the public monitoring of public figures' children, particularly those from unconventional households. Developmental psychologist Dr. Elena Martinez, who focuses on family dynamics, said, "Children of parents with disabilities often face unique social pressures. They can receive unwelcome attention or be perceived as caregivers too soon. It's critical that society acknowledges that these kids have unique identities that shouldn't be shaped by their parents' circumstances." Martinez also emphasized how critical it is to normalize different family arrangements. Stereotypes about what a family looks like and who can be a parent were questioned by the little couple. Their ability to raise a happy, healthy child is evidence of their love, forethought, and tenacity. However, it's just as crucial to let Zoey develop at her own speed, free from the pressure of social expectations. Families like the Klein's prominence has influenced more general discussions about parenting, disability, and media representation. Few depictions of dwarf parents rearing children without dwarfism were common in the media prior to the little couple. By providing informative information regarding medical issues, adaptable living, and inclusive parenting, the show contributed to the normalization of these experiences. Along with dispelling myths like the idea that people with dwarfism cannot have children, it also highlighted the couple's tenacity, sense of humor, and strong emotional bond. The show's influence in changing public perceptions has been highlighted in scholarly evaluations. After watching several seasons of The Little Couple, viewers reported feeling more empathetic and less prejudiced toward those who have dwarfism, according to a 2020 study published in the Journal of Disability Studies in Media. The study ascribed this shift to the show's emphasis on ordinary living as opposed to sympathy stories or medical drama. The show humanized Jen and Bill's experiences in a way that appealed to a wide range of viewers by portraying them as capable professionals, devoted parents, and devoted spouses. But the study also brought up issues regarding reality TV's potential for exploitation, especially when kids are involved. Although Zoey's appearance on the show was handled carefully, researchers warned that it is still unknown what the long-term consequences of early media exposure will be. In such circumstances, they advised parents to set clear limits and give the child's consent first priority as they get older. Concerns about Zoey's future place in the spotlight can intensify as she gets closer to puberty. Her parents have stated that they will support her in making her own decisions on publicity, even if she hasn't made any public remarks of her own. Zoey will decide how much she wants to share when she is old enough, Jen stated in a 2020 interview. It is our responsibility to equip her with the knowledge she needs to make wise choices. Therefore, the trip to Boston might be one of Zoey's final periods of relative anonymity before she reaches a point in her life where her own voice and agency become more prominent. It served as a poignant reminder of time passing for fans. It was probably simply another day of bonding, discovery, and happiness for the family. Media sources picked up the tale in the days after the encounter, with headlines like, "The Little Couple's Daughter All Grown Up," and "Zoey Klein Stuns Fans with Growth Spurt." Even though the publicity was mostly favorable, it also demonstrated how the public's interest in the family's unusual tale has endured. Given that the family did not organize or market the outing, some commenters questioned whether the coverage went too far in the direction of intrusion. In recent years, there has been an increase in the ethical discourse around the privacy of celebrities, especially when it comes to children. Stricter rules on the exposure of kids have been demanded as a result of high-profile cases involving child stars and social media influencers. Although some states are considering digital consent legislation that would give children the right to request that images posted by others be taken down once they reach adulthood, there is currently no federal law in the U.S. that prohibits parents from sharing pictures of their children online. Public personalities have been asked by advocacy organizations like the Children's Advocacy Network to follow best practices for safeguarding the privacy of youngsters. Limiting the sharing of identifying information, staying away from exploitative content, and talking to kids before posting are some suggestions. Although Jen and Bill have not discussed these rules in public, their past behavior points to a careful and deliberate approach. The Klein-Arnold family's future is yet unknown but full with opportunities. Jen keeps working in neonatology, concentrating on enhancing the prognosis of premature babies. Bill continues to be involved in advocacy, giving talks at conferences and lending support to groups that advance inclusivity and accessibility. According to people close to the family, Zoey, who is currently in the 4th or 5th grade, is doing well both academically and socially. Although any future initiatives would probably be handled differently than their reality series, the duo has not ruled out returning to media enterprises. While Jen indicated interest in creating teaching materials for medical professionals on disability-inclusive care, Bill alluded to the prospect of writing a book about their parenting experience in a 2022 podcast interview. The family seems happy living a more subdued existence for the time being, preferring to spend time together rather than be in the spotlight all the time. Even though the journey to Boston was short and unremarkable, it served as a potent reminder of how strong their relationship has always been. Zoey's parents are still dedicated to raising her with love, integrity, and respect even as she gets taller, more self-reliant, and closer to developing her own personality. Ultimately, the response to Zoey's appearance, her height, her maturity, and her obvious happiness, reflects a profound love for a family that has inspired millions of people in addition to astonishment at how quickly time goes by. They are now parents and not just the little couple. They serve as examples. And one step at a time, they are a family that keeps expanding. The Boston photos will probably always represent a turning point in the public account of their lives, a picture of a little girl walking next to her parents as someone who was obviously growing up and becoming her own person. She may appear mature to fans, but to Jen and Bill, she will always remain their little child.